Hello, Steve White, TrekWhite89 for SteveArts89. Well, this is my short review because I just did a review of Star Trek Discovery, Episode 4 of Season 3, Forget Me Not, and it turned out to be a bit of a rant and it was like 90 minutes, so I thought I'd better do a short version because no one's going to watch that. But a couple of people did watch the other long one, so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do a long and a short one. So this will just be sort of sticking more to the story, what happens, more of a spoiler review. So basically, the episode starts off with Culber basically running around the ship trying to sort them out because obviously none of them are coping with the transition to the future well. And they're not really taking his help. And he speaks to Saru and they end up, this is like the B story, they end up arranging a dinner party. Now, get back to that. The rest of the story, because they start off in the medical bay basically. And it's a really pointless scene because they're basically trying to work out if they should go to Trill or not, like it's an option. So they go to Trill, and of course Trill is ruled by a black lady because that's how everything in this future works. Every society, every culture, every planet, every ship, the leader is a black woman. And it's getting absolutely cliched at this point. Every society, every ship is a matriarchy, every institution is a matriarchy, and it's like a black lady in charge. And I'm all for representation and diversity, but when you do it like this, where every time it just becomes a joke and actually undermines what you're supposedly trying to do. So it's just laughable. And also the makeup was very difficult to see, not just on her because she had dark skin, but on the other actors as well. And when I saw the previews, I'm like, why are they being greeted by humans on Trill? I don't understand. But they were Trill. And of course, no one happened to mention to the Trill that the person they were bringing with the symbiont, which was having problems, was a human. And of course, because this is Discovery and everyone in Discovery is ugly and racist and horrible, the Trill are ugly and racist and horrible. And they basically say, we cannot have one of our people in one of your people, basically get off the planet, you filth, is basically what they get. First, they actually want to forcibly remove the Trill, and which would probably kill Adora. And I know her name is Adira, but I'm going to call her Adora because it's just too similar to the name of the She-Ra character, and I just can't. I'm going to keep doing it, so I'm just going to call her Adora from now on. So Michael Burnham says, no, you can't kill Adora. Her life's more important than your dogma and your prejudice. Gives them a speech. And they leave, but then they get attacked because they try and kidnap her. And Mikey Burnham takes them all down with one phaser, which at least has a glorious blue beam. It looks just like an original series phaser. The only thing about Discovery that was canon was the props, which is why I have a badge and why I'd buy a phaser if there was one available, but there isn't because licensing failed with that show because no one wants anything. I would buy that though. Yeah, so another guy shows up and he was the one who was trying, because apparently all the Trill were destroyed in the burn, because apparently they're all just on one ship having a big convention or a party or Mardi Gras or something, and they're all destroyed, so they've got a shortage, and he was saying this might be what can save us if we can connect with other races and they can take the Trills. Maybe this is a way to save our history and our symbionts, because apparently there's a shortage and they've got a problem. But they resist it, and they kick them off the planet, they get kidnapped, like I said, or try to get kidnapped, they take them down, and then this guy shows up again and says, I'll take you to the caves, I'll help you with her, she may be our only hope. So they go to the caves, they go in, they put her in the water, and they've got these monitors and everything, and then suddenly she just disappears under the water. Her eyes go white, there's electricity in the water, her eyes go white, and she just disappears. And of course, and this was a sickening part, and there were several parts in this episode that made me yell at the screen, or at least talk back to the screen sternly. Basically, Michael Burnham goes into the water. This like holy place basically to them, and of course the only person who can go in and help the character, Adora, I want to call her Blue, Adora. is Michael Burnham. Not one of the people who've been running the place, not one of the people who dedicate their whole lives to it, and other people from that movement, from that order, from that religion. No, the only person who can save it is Michael Burnham. So they send her in, and she goes in, and of course she explains everything to Adora because Adora couldn't work it out herself, because the only person who can fix any problem, the center of the whole universe, is Michael Burnham. So Michael explains everything to her, and she's referred to as a her in this episode, so I'm just going to do it because if they can't keep track of it, I'm not even going to try to. And the problem with her is she's been resisting connecting to the Trill. It's her resistance because the Trill it didn't come directly from Tull. It went from Tull into her boyfriend Gray. She was living on a generational ship. They were both orphans. They were very close. And he took on the Trill, and then he became like another person. She was having difficulty with that. And then while they were trying to deal with this new identity issues, he was killed. And she took the Trill basically to take part of him and keep him with her. And the show is basically a love story, because basically the writers don't know how to write science fiction or Star Trek, but they do sort of have some, they don't know how to write anything, but they have some familiarity with drama and teen drama and romance and that sort of thing. So that's basically what this episode is. Now, the bad thing, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but the main actress, the non-binary actress can't act. And this is not good because, I don't know if I mentioned this in this one or the other review, but people are already trying to attack the choice because it's politically motivated and saying that she's there for agenda, not because she can act or that she's the best actress or anything. So when it turns out she can't act, it's just going to give them so much ammunition and make it very easy for them. Fortunately, the trans actor is brilliant. They managed to convey a wisdom and a generational knowledge and a youth and a femininity and a masculinity and everything, and they are quietly, subtly brilliant. And I actually think they're really amazing, and I wanted to see more scenes with that character. And I thought they were going to die, and I'm like, oh great, we get that person for one episode, then we get stuck with the actress who can't act for the rest of the series. So basically they die, she takes on the Trill, she couldn't sort of deal with those memories. It was literally in a box she had to open. It was very symbolized and whatever. So she does that, she opens up, they come out, all the past hosts, they accept her, and then, of course, then the leader of the planet, the Black Lady, basically says, well, suddenly, even though I sent you away saying you're an aberration 10 minutes ago, now I'm willing to accept you and you're the future of our race, basically. And she says, well, I'd rather be on Discovery because I think that's where I'm best served, promoting our race's needs, basically, I guess recruiting Trill or something, I don't know. But so she goes back with them. And that's that. And one of the things that did annoy me that I was talking back to the screen sternly was that, and this is not the actor's fault, this is the scripting, the trans character is basically, actress character is says bullshit. And I'm like, why are people in the 21st century speaking like people today? If we went back 200 years from now, we wouldn't expect people to talk like us. If we went in the future, people wouldn't talk like us either. But why people today watch this show and accept that people speak just like us and nothing would change, because they can't actually imagine anything more complicated than that. So they just need people to speak like them so they can relate to it because they're small-minded and it just drives me mad. So that drove me mad. And it was another example of it because Saru's dinner party did not go so well. Basically, they all start bitching at each other and attacking each other because they're all horrible characters, they're all horrible people, and I wouldn't be stuck on a ship with them either. So it starts off with the Space Hitler cannibal, who's not eating other species for a change, but she's just eating, the food at the table, decides to make a haiku, and then everyone is invited around the table to make a haiku. And Lisa Left Eye, Ditma, who's obviously having problems, starts making a little haiku about Stamets' blood and then starts attacking him because he's making it all about him. He thinks that he is the one who saved everyone and that basically no one matters, no one counts. That the fact that she piloted the ship and has that burden and responsibility on herself, and no one cares, no one appreciates it, it's all about him. So she attacks him, he attacks her, everyone attacks everyone, it's just ugly. Everyone leaves. Eventually Tilly comes back and tries to give Saru a pep talk because he just as he says, Pike made this look effortless and I'm struggling. And she says, look, you reminded us of who we were in your speech earlier. You know, that's leadership. You're on the right path, blah, blah. Stamets comes back, actually apologises for not acknowledging her because she was trying to put forward other ways to use the spore drive so they don't have to rely on him. But he wants it to be all about him because apparently in the future, gay men are all malignant narcissists as well. We haven't resolved that issue in the future either. We've taken that with us. So they eventually have their little movie screening in the shuttle bay, and they try and be normal. And Culber and Saru talk, and God bless Saru, he's the only Star Trek character on the show. God bless the actor, Doug Jones. He's the only one I want to meet. He was supposed to come to Australia for a convention. None of the other actors who were scheduled to come to Australia worked because no one cared. They all got cancelled, but he was going to come. I thought it was going to happen. I thought I was going to meet him. It got cancelled thanks to Corona. Hopefully he'll come back. But they have a talk, and he basically says, Culber basically says, look, yes, this crew's messed up, but we're going to be okay. And they are sort of making progress. And we see Stamets hug Dittmer and the crew laughing together and watching a movie, which is the only thing about the show so far I can relate to. Like, I would do that if I was on a ship. I would have movie nights. They did it on Enterprise. They did it on Voyager. It makes sense. Now, I'm sure they didn't come up with it themselves. I'm sure they copied it. But that's the only probably good part about the episode. The fact that they actually... it almost worked, but not really, because the projection is weird. It's not a hologram. It's not a projection on a screen. It's like shadows and light. It's just kind of weird. And of course they use a 1930s film, a Buster Keaton film, because apparently they can't pay for anything more expensive because they can't afford the rights for a modern film. But yeah, it ended, and I was grateful. This episode gave me a headache. Partway through I had to stop and have some Panadol because it really makes me sick. But I really desperately want it to be Star Trek. I really do. Every week, it's really sick. It's like going back to an abusive partner or something. It's just really sick. But I'm going to keep doing it. I'll be back next week. And you know, I do. Like I said, I watch this so you don't have to. So I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next week.